Some say Jack the Ripper was the Queen's doctor. Others say he was a businessman. And some say he was a local butcher. But I say he was a Mancunian. I say he walked with a swagger, called his brother our kid, and wore his big coat indoors. This is the story of Francis Tompson. Tompson had quite an insignificant life. Being born in Preston in Lancashire, strict Roman Catholic parents, not a great deal happened. His dad was a doctor, and at his bequest he attended 8 years at Owens College, which is now the University of Manchester, studying to be a doctor. He did a full 8 years training before dropping out to pursue a career in writing. He was a talented writer and had a passion for poetry. He would also write about cricket matches. His father still insisted he would become a doctor and that he wanted him to return to school. But to escape, he tried to approach his father's wishes and enlist as a soldier, but was rejected for his slightness of nature. In 1885, he fled penniless to London, where he tried to make a living as a writer, in the meantime taking odd jobs, working for a bootmaker, booksellers, and selling matches. During this time, he became addicted to opium, which he'd first taken for his medicine for his ill health, having experienced a mental breakdown while he was living in Manchester. He lived on the streets of Charing Cross and slept by the River Thames with the other homeless and other addicts. He was turned down by Oxford University, not because he was unqualified, but because of his addictions. He soon tried to commit suicide, but was saved completing the action through a vision, which he believed to be that of a youthful poet, Thomas Chatterton, who had committed suicide over a century earlier. And a prostitute, whose identity Thomas never revealed, befriended him and gave him lodgings. Tompson later described her in his poetry as his saviour. It was during these years, living on the streets and living in the home of a prostitute, that he wrote some of his best poetry, and he sent it off to a poetry magazine called Merry England. He was sought out by the magazine's editors, Wilfred and Alice Meynell, who were concerned about his opium addiction but saw the value in his work. So they sent him to Our Lady of England Priory in Storrington for a couple of years. He continued to take opium, but only in small doses to reveal his pain. So how does Francis end up being tied to Jack the Ripper? Well, his most famous poem, The Hound of Heaven, describes the pursuit of the human person by God. But many describe it or interpret it as him judging and hating prostitutes, and the God and humans being some sort of analogy, that he's God looking out of his room and the prostitutes are the humans, or something along those lines anyway. So it's thought he hated the victims that Jack the Ripper killed. But that's not enough on its own. It might sound like a tenuous link, but he was in the area, he hated the prostitutes, he had the means, it fits the description. It all adds up that Francis Tompson could be the real Jack the Ripper.